What up, y'all? It's your boy Body Bags. Put them in the dirt. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Um, Today I want to make a video about. It's just gonna be a bunch of random things, but what's on my mind. You know, I just made a video before this about the anti-bully gang, and I feel like people like them should be getting a lot more support than what they get, which I know they do get a lot of support, but this is something that should really be big. You got a group of people that are taking their time out of their life to really show up and be a voice for these kids, right? And with YouTube, the internet, and everything these days, now everything is about, disrespect and about violence. That's what really gets a lot of views up on here. So, I think that's one thing we got to start changing. We got to do a lot more for these kids. Like I stated in the last video, I used to coach football from my neighborhood, from Black Rock and Riverside. I did that because, I wanted to give back. I did a lot of wrong in my life to where I wanted to possibly be that person that could, not, try to save a kid, but also point him in the right direction. Because a lot of us that come from the inner city, we don't have the right direction. We don't take the right advice either. That's another thing that, happens a lot, is that, we're all men, or we feel like we're men, coming from where you got to grow up at a very young age. So you don't really listen to who's there. But then also, too, is there's not a lot of people that are giving you the right information, and then people see what's going on on the internet, especially with rap, you know what I mean? Like, so many kids are paying attention to that, and it's what they want to do because it's what they want to see. It's what they, imitate. They want the money. They think that the money is going to get them there. You know what I mean? And, to be honest, like, hustling, it's hard, but it's easy at the end of the day. I, I might have done it for the majority of my life, supposedly, possibly. And, if I could tell any kids, that ain't the way to go. You know what I mean? You know, College, that stuff, if that's for you, that could be it. But there's a lot of successful people that haven't gone to college either. You just got to have the right drive and, the proper people that are supporting you, because support is probably one of the biggest things that a lot of kids aren't getting from the inner city. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that, really caught my attention with the anti-bully gang. I really do support that. And I'm all for it, because to try to save these kids should be honestly our number one priorities. And that's why, even like with, past maybe like 10 of my videos have been about politics, because my whole life I sat here and I really never paid attention to it, or really thought there needed to be a care for it either. But in all reality, it is important, because these are the people that are like making these decisions on these laws and everything that are going to get passed, that are going to affect us. And like I stated before, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm none of that. I just go by what my views are. And that's why I've been so against like what the Democrats are talking about, because it's like they sit here and they say they for the poor and the minorities and all this stuff, and it's like, well, what do y'all really do for us? You know what I mean? All you do is try to honestly enable us. You guys don't do nothing for anybody that comes from the inner city. You get what I'm saying? I honestly feel like they're doing more harm. And then it's, I don't really want to get into it real long, but even just with the kids' genders thing is out of control. Like, what happened to Kids used to play house. People used to get dressed up in girl clothes. That didn't make them want to be a girl. Like all of a sudden now it's like, if any of that happens, oh my God, they got to transition and all this stuff. None of that should be allowed, you know. And when I seen that video on them trying to get funded for um for men to get pregnant is crazy. Like, yo, we should be putting our money towards other things. That's why I said it's like, people on them sides, they take this so personal and they get so crazy about Democrats and Republicans. But I'm sorry, it's I've done so much poison and put so much poison in this world growing up and teenager, young adult, even young 30s. It's like I feel almost like I'm going against the lifestyle I used to live, but it's like, if you guys keep the borders open, right? It's more than just the people. It's the drugs. It's the trafficking that's going on. It's the kids that are getting taken. It's the women that's getting taken. It's all of that. That's why I agree with the strong border. Like, because all the Democrats forever have allowed it to be weak and allowed all this to come in. I'm from Buffalo, New York, right? Do y'all know how many people have died off of fentanyl in these past 5 years? I could tell you that in a sense chills through my body. The people in their 30s to 40s, the majority of everybody's dying. On top of the violence, on top of that, there's not too many people that grew up in my neighborhood that's still alive. I have tons more obituaries, tons. I think we have like over 400 people. I think over 400 people in the past, just from our neighborhood. Now, our neighborhood's small. It's small. Maybe it's even more, but it's like the bigger picture. I feel like, and I've gotten into conversations with people from the suburbs, and it's like a lot of them are the voices of the change naming of things and the Antifa. Like, I will slap one of you Antifa people. And a lot of you guys talk on stuff that you know nothing about. Nothing at all. You did not grow up in the inner city. You guys don't know what's going on. And at the end of the day, a lot of us need to be held accountable as well. Yes, do I feel like they keep the poor? Yeah, I do feel like that. That's a fact, right? But we got to change it. We have to be a part of the change. You get what I'm saying? Like, we can't just sit there and just keep defending ourselves like, okay, this is all we can do. No, there's more we can do. We just got to do it. It's going to be harder, but we can do it. We can do whatever we want at the end of the day. Yes, do the suburbians have a better chance? Yeah, they do, but that don't mean we can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to do better and be more accountable. We are destroying our cities. It's what it is. We create so much of the violence in the cities. We do. And I get it. I done lost so many friends to people killing them. I get it. I get the anger. I get the pain. I understand all that. I do. But it's like, we gotta do better. And that's why, like with Trump's sending in troops certain places. Like, yeah, people want to say like, oh, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. But what else are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to keep letting genocide and death happen? Are we? And I get it. People might look at me. I have somebody comment on me and say that I'm not a good role model and this and this and that. If y'all knew me, I get it, whatever. But I bet you I'm a better parent than you are, because I've been through everything. I've experienced everything. So I don't know. Yeah, you know, if I just don't get barely any views, whatever. I don't care about that. It's just that, you know, I want to be a part of the solution. Yeah, I get up on here and I'll talk my shit or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'd rather have everybody succeed than keep failing. And people got to start learning to be one, and we got to fight together. It's us fighting against each other when it comes to race or beliefs, you know, Catholic, Muslim, all that stuff. Like, if we were all together, you know, the poor needs, you know, all the poor need to get together and look at it as being one, not by individual races. We got to work together. We got to put the one foot forward, and we have to start making things better for ourselves. We're living in a world where the regular, normal people like us are sitting there living paycheck to paycheck. They keep raising all the taxes. They keep raising everything else. Doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. They keep raising it either way. How are we supposed to get up? You know, people out here making 40 plus still struggling. Like, they got to do something. These pay rates have to go up. These people that own these businesses have to start paying more. But see, instead of us fighting each other, we have to sit there and protest together. If we sat here and we shut down this whole country, right, from working wise, if we all went and on strike at every single type of job, we would shut this world down and we would get what we want. We got to start thinking. Like, being together is only going to work, and that's why they create division. That's why they have and only put certain things on the news to create division. How do people not see that? And I get it, we all have our own individual lives and we get busy with these things, and then, you know, when stuff happens we want to react, but we got to start really working together. And like I said, I was going to go every which way on this video, but I'm done. Let me know, whoever watched this, you know, comment, subscribe, and go Bills.